Hello, everyone. Welcome to Everything Arsenal. Mikel Arteta has been speaking about Arsenal's transfer business, Arsenal's transfer budget. We will be talking about that one. Also, a Man still close to pulling out of the Declan Rice deal. That can only be good news for us. And also, Balogun's transfer fee has been revealed. What Arsenal actually want to be paid for Balogun. It's now good news in terms of that, but also in terms of Julian Timber, the latest on Havertz, and the rest of Arsenal's transfer news. A lot to get to today, but let's start with Mikel Arteta, who has been speaking about Arsenal's transfers this time around. So according to Fabrizio Romano, Arteta on Arsenal's budget, or according to Arteta, but quoted by Fabrizio, we already made a refresh of the squad. We are now together with owners to build a winning team that could be sustainable for long term. We need important players and we'll attack the market to sign those who we need. So that is good news. That is actually something good to hear. They already knew what players they are going to sign. They're willing to attack the transfer market. And this is a different Arsenal. Usually there's so many transfer windows where Arsenal have waited until the last day. The one that usually pops up to mind, a lot of disappointing transfer windows. I remember that one back in 2011 when we lost 8-2 to Man United, and then that's when we went to buy a lot of players. Like in the last day, we bought like 5 players: Mertesacker, Santos, Benayoun, and many others. On that final day, I think Arteta was also bought. Ironically, Arteta was bought in that transfer window as well. And then I remember a few years later, we were expecting a huge transfer window. We only ended up signing Mikel Arteta, right? Not Mikel Arteta, Petr Cech. We only ended up signing Petr Cech, a goalkeeper. This time round, we're not going to end up signing a goalkeeper alone. We definitely have more transfer business to do. So for me, I do believe in what Arteta has to do. I believe in what Edu has planned as well. Arsenal fans just need to be patient. The transfer windows have only been open for like 11 days. I'm sure by the time we get to the end of June, way before the transfer, way before the preseason starts, we'll have like 3 players through the door, and things will be calm. We'll be the team that has done the most business. And as Mikel Arteta says, they've not revealed the exact budget that we have, but from reports, we have close to 200 million from previous reports. And from that, it seems like we're going to get 4 or 5 players, maybe more, who knows, maybe loan deals or free agents, especially if Xhaka and Partey both leave, if Holding and Tierney both leave at the back, we will definitely need more players. Are we going to get a backup for Saka? We have to wait and see. But they seem to already know their plans and what they need for next season. Last season, we know backups, not having backups, we're not having a good squad. Like we had a good 13, 14 players, but in terms of the rest of the squad, it wasn't like at the level that we want to compete with Man City. So next season, considering in the Champions League, we need that squad to compete with the rest of the teams. Mikel Arteta also had this say on Kai Havertz. So he was asked about the Kai Havertz links, and he said, talent has a price, and at Arsenal, we are always interested in young people with experience. I reiterate, I'm not talking about players from other clubs, but in the case of Kai, he has already shown a lot, including a Champions League. He is talented, versatile player, and only 24 years old. So the main 3 things that I pick from that is age bracket. One is age bracket. We usually sign players between 22, 23, 24. So Havertz, just like Declan Rice, is going to fit our age bracket 100%. He's nowhere near his prime. And if he signs 4 or 5 year contract, he's going to spend his prime years at Arsenal. He's not had a great time at Chelsea. Yes, he won the Champions League and everything, but in terms of the league, the last couple of seasons, it's not been the best. But Arteta was not his manager then. I believe Mikel Arteta is going to improve his game. Also, in terms of a versatile player, we talked about Kai Havertz, different positions that he can play, and we talked about 5-6 different positions he can cover for us in a lot of positions. I'm very interested to see whether it's going to be a starter or a bench player. Is he going to start next to Odegaard? I feel like it's going to be a mixture. I still don't know which other midfielders or which other players we're going to get, but I have a feeling Havertz will be playing together with Odegaard as 2 number 10s, not necessarily as a number 8 coming back to defend. Because in big games you can do that, but in the home games where you're expected to dominate and create 20, 25 chances in a game, have 25 shots in a game, I think Havertz and Odegaard will be very close to the box together, in Martinelli, Jesus, and Saka, whoever else is there, and we'll be playing him in such kind of games as a second number 10. But in the other games like Liverpool away and stuff like that, it's either him or Odegaard, or him instead of Saka on the right side, which I can't really see, or him instead of Jesus. That is very possible up front. But in terms of starting both Havertz and Odegaard like Liverpool away, I can't really see it unless we are 100% favorites and Liverpool are absolutely shocking and we've been winning 20 games in a row and you're expected to go there and just blow them apart. I don't really see it. But in terms of the other games, it's games that you expect to dominate and create a lot of chances. He will be starting next to Odegaard. But the ones that are tougher games, either him or Odegaard, or either him or Jesus, or him coming off the bench to replace one of them. That is what I see. So age bracket, versatile player, and also experience in terms of Champions League. Going into next zone, you don't have too many players who've played Champions League football. We know the likes of obviously Saka, Martinelli have all never stepped foot in a Champions League game. We have a few, but some of them are leaving. People like Thomas Partey are going. So there's others like Zinchenko and Jesus who've played Champions League football. I'm sure Gabriel has played as well for Lille. I'm not 100% sure, but I think he's kind of played for Lille at in the Champions League. But it's not too many players. That's why you were struggling to remember any players that have played in the Champions League for other teams. Even Ramsey has not before. So bringing in someone like a Kai Havertz, I will bring that experience in terms of Champions League football and knowing his way there, because he scored in a Champions League final and he's won that trophy before. So that also helps. So that is what Mikel Arteta had to say about Kai Havertz. What about the rest of the plan? So according to Elliot, with Arsenal, the whole summer strategy is to sign players that can come into the squad, and Mikel can rotate much more. Key lessons learned from the last 2 seasons. Yep, especially the last 5-10 games, the last 2 seasons. The 2 seasons ago, the last few games against Tottenham, Newcastle, we fell apart. And last season, obviously, against Man City, against Brighton, against Nottingham Forest, we also dropped a lot of points in those games. Now, next season, you have to have a squad. We need to have a squad. Whether Trossard is not there, we have someone else. If Zinchenko is not there, we have someone else to come in. And the rotation will be very important. Like, I'm imagining if we have 3 games in a week, which will be often and tougher games in Champions League, and in December we have a lot of Premier League games after 2-3 days. You can start Trossard in a game on Saturday. The next time you start Martinelli without changing the quality of the player too much. Next time you can start Havertz. Next time you can give Odegaard the rest. The captain can play every single game, yes, but last season I felt like we had to play players like Odegaard and Ben White every single day because we didn't really have anyone to come in for them. And then the rotation is very important because if you rotate players well, like Guardiola does early on the season, first half of the season, by the time you get to the second half of the season, players are fresh, players are ready to go to the business end. But for us, we got to the business end. Most of our players, especially important players, Partey, Odegaard, they were all tired. They are making mistakes. So we need that rotation in our squad. So let's see what happens in terms of that. But which players will be coming in to cover that? Is Declan Rice one of them? Well, it looks like Man City kind of giving up on this one. I'd be very happy. Man City are aware that London-born Rice has been expecting move to Arsenal and will not make a bid for the player if he remains steadfast in his desire. Can't see him changing his mind unless he's told he's going to be given 500,000 a week, which I don't think is going to attract him. I don't think he's that kind of player. The only other thing is if he sees Arsenal taking too much time, 1 month, 2 months, and we've still not signed him by the end of July, then he might change his mind then. But if it's just a couple of days this month, I think he'll not change his mind or his desire. West Ham are confident that a bid of 100 million is on its way from at least one of the interested parties. That is according to the Mirror. I'm sure Arsenal are plotting the final bid. I don't think they want to go to the 4th or 5th bid. So I think I don't know if they're in talks with West Ham at the moment, or they're just planning they're preparing basically a bid that West Ham cannot avoid, whether it's in terms of add-ons, whether it's in terms of bonuses, whether it's in terms of the structure, how many years, whether it's in terms of the initial payment that you're going to make, all that. But I'm confident this deal will get done very soon this month. I'm very confident it's going to be done this month. It's not the only player that you're trying to sign. What about Julian Timber? According to Platigo, Julian Timber on the verge to join Arsenal. Bayern is not involved at this stage. The player wants to join Arsenal. And then at the bottom, all depends on the second official offer now. Agreement expected between 40 to 45 million euros. Transfer fee plus bonus payments would be a good deal for all parties. I 100% agree. I have no problem with paying that kind of fee for Julian Timber. I think it's worth it. It's going to change our game. It's going to help out the likes of Saliba and Ben White. We wouldn't have to play them every single day against Chelsea on the weekend, and then you play them against Barcelona in the midweek, and then you play them away at Tottenham that following weekend. No, there will be some rotation, and the quality of player that is coming in is almost the same. Whether it's Saliba or Ben White or Timber, it's almost the same. It's not like removing Ben White and playing Rob Holding. With all due respect, is not in that same level in terms of passing technique and everything, and just in terms of just playing game after game after game. He was not up to speed as well. He had been sitting on the bench for almost the entire season, so that would always hurt you. More on Gian Timber, according to Fabrizio, Gian Timber believes Arsenal have the perfect project for his future and was immediately convinced by the plans presented, with Mikel Arteta having a huge influence, as was the case with Kai Havertz. Arsenal are expected to submit their second bid, so it's very good to have a manager who can actually convince players to come in. Odegaard said that Arsenal are 15th and they still convinced him to join Arteta. That is very, very, very good news, knowing that you can convince them. And back in the day, 2-3 years ago, it was very difficult because we didn't have Champions League football. Now that you have Champions League football and the convincing of Arteta and hopefully the convincing of Edu as well, we can attract many players that we wouldn't have been able to attract a couple of years ago. Bigger players, players that are wanted by bigger teams. Usually when Arsenal is competing with Man United or Man City for a player, we just pull out because, you can't match the wages, you can't match the transfer fee, and you can't match them in terms of attraction because all of them are in the Champions League football. Now, they would ask us, are you in the Champions League football? We say yes. What are the plans? We have a plan. What is the manager's project? He has a project going on as well. Who am I going to play next to? There's Odegaard. We are signing Declan Rice. We are signing this one. We're signing that one. So it's very good in terms of us in the transfer policy in the transfer market this time around. Very, very good. But not every player is going to remain at Arsenal, unfortunately. In terms of Balogun news, Arsenal have put a 35 million asking price on striker Folarin Balogun. I mean, that seems a bit low. 35 million. How comes Chelsea able to ask for like 45 million for players like Gallagher, 40 million for players like Loftus-Cheek? I mean, I know they don't always go for that price. I know they sell players like Koulibaly and Ziyech for very cheap, but Balogun is now an international starter for USA, and he's just been scoring goal after goal after goal over in France. As you can see in that picture, there's Ramsey, and Ramsey had to speak about Balogun. He said Arsenal have a gem in their hands. When we played with him against him twice last season, I could see a very special talent. That is according to Aaron Ramsey. So it's like Arsenal have a very good player in their hands, and that is someone who has a bit of respect. It's Arsenal. He scored a couple of Champions League, I wish, FA Cup winning goals for us. And so I would take his opinion here and there. He would know what Arsenal's culture is, and he would know what Arsenal's system, Arsenal's plans, and not necessarily Arteta's plans, but Arsenal's the culture at Arsenal. That's just his culture. So Balogun, 35 million seems a bit low. If it's 35 million, I'd rather keep him, especially if you're going to sell Nketiah, I'd rather keep him for the FA Cup and Carabao Cup games. But if he definitely wants to go because he's not going to start games for Arsenal, 45 million at least. And never forget the add-ons. The add-ons are very important these days. Everyone wants add-ons in the price. So Balogun, that's the latest on him. There's still more news. We're expecting more news on the likes of Edin Nketiah and the likes of Havertz, who will probably join Arsenal. He will be announced this upcoming week. And also the latest on Lavi and all those players. I'm sure we'll hear something, and hopefully make that third bid that everyone is waiting for in terms of Declan Rice. So that is all the latest for right now. We will be back again later. Thank you for watching, and I'll catch up with you on the next one.